Number 8. Escobars Fortune. Before his death in 1993, Pablo Escobar was one of the wealthiest drug lords in the world. He's known as the king of cocaine, and at the highest point of his criminal career, he was raking in an estimated $420 million a week. The legendary Medellin Colombian cartel boss was making so much money that he began to hide huge piles of cash throughout his extensive 7.7 square mile property in Puerto Triunfo. Escobar had more wealth than he knew what to do with. According to his son Juan, who since changed his name to Sebastian Marroquin Santos, the drug lord once burned $2 million in banknotes just to keep his family warm as they were on the run from law enforcement. At one point, he was responsible for supplying a whopping 80% of the world's cocaine, and at the peak of his power, it was estimated that he was bringing in about 15 tons of nose candy into the US on a daily basis. Pablo Escobar's reign of a drug-fueled terror came to an end on December 2, 1993, when he was caught in a shootout with the Colombian police after resisting arrest. But what happened to the king of cocaine's vast fortune following his death? After his inevitable demise, a significant chunk of the man's money was seized by the Colombian government. Escobar's family members were forced to sign over the remaining liquid assets the drug lord left behind. Local authorities also acquired whatever capital could be traced to his closest associates. However, throughout his lifetime, Escobar planned for a life on the run, and he apparently stashed millions of dollars all over the country. This money was discreetly hidden for over 20 years without anyone finding so much as a nickel. But in 2015, a 65-year-old farmer named Jose Mariana Cartolos uncovered several blue containers filled to the brim with cold, hard cash. Cartolos was digging an irrigation trench on a plot of land that's been in his family for over 200 years when his shovel suddenly struck something strange. Upon further inspection, he discovered Escobar's buried treasure, totaling an incredible $600 million. Unfortunately, Cartolos was unable to keep the money for himself, and it was subsequently seized by the Colombian government. But as a reward for finding the drug lord's hidden stash, he was given a grant of $3,000 so his family could start a palm oil plantation. Number 7. Utah Desert Haul. Dave Sparks, better known for his YouTube channel called Heavy D Sparks, found an amazing buried treasure in November of 2020 while out in the southern Utah desert near the city of Moab. Dave and a few friends of his, equipped with metal detectors, headed out into the desert to look for treasure. Apparently, southern Utah is full of all sorts of hidden gems, and he and his pals planned to find some that day. With the help of his helicopter, the group searched for hours in the heat of the sun. It seemed as though they wouldn't find anything, but just as they'd given up hope, one of them felt something with their shovel as they were digging up the sand. A few moments later, they pulled a bundle of objects wrapped in fabric out of the ground. When they took a closer look, they discovered a gun from the early 1900s, a sharp two-pronged fork, a knife with a leather handle, an iron pickaxe, a shovel, and a small stash of Mexican coins and currency. The group of friends set out to find buried treasure, and they did just that. However, it's unclear what the tools and money were worth, or whether they planned to sell them or keep the artifacts for themselves. Number 6. Inca Jewel. In 2021, an amazing piece of Inca jewelry was discovered by a treasure hunter along the coast of Vero Beach in Florida. The legendary Inca civilization began to appear in the Andes region starting in the 12th century AD. Over time, they built themselves an impressive empire, a kingdom far more advanced than was previously thought possible. The Inca state known as Tawantinsuyu stretched for hundreds of miles between central Chile and northern Ecuador. Around 12 million people, all from various ethnic groups, inhabited the city at its peak. However, when much of South America was pillaged by the Spanish invaders throughout the late 15th and 16th centuries, the powerful Inca Empire succumbed heavily to disease and the superior weapons wielded by the conquistadors. Vast hoards of jewels and gold were stolen from the Inca after they were either killed or converted to Catholicism. Most of the treasure was taken back to Europe, but not all of it was discovered initially. Over the years, there have been great collections of Inca valuables turning up all over the globe. One of these amazing finds was unearthed by a metal detecting expert named Gary Drayton in 2021. As Gary was searching around Vero Beach in Florida with his treasure hunting machine, he stumbled across a rare Inca gold coin. The piece of jewelry was an incredible 22.5 carats, and it also featured 9 flawless emeralds in its centerpiece. Gary described the artifact to be the greatest treasure ring ever found in America. At its appraisal, the ring was estimated to be worth roughly $750,000. Apparently, the piece of Inca jewelry had wound up in Florida after being swept away in a hurricane in July of 1715. Gary believes it's likely that the ring once belonged to King Philip V of Spain, who was caught in a bad storm on his way back to Queen Isabel to deliver a dowry of jewels. The hurricane wiped out King Philip's entire fleet of 11 ships, and the billions of pounds worth of treasure he planned to take back to Spain was lost, only to wash up on the beaches of Florida some 300 years later. Number 5. San Jose. The most valuable shipwreck in the world was discovered off the Colombian coast in 2015. The San Jose sank in 1708 with a vast amount of treasure on board. Finding the location of the shipwreck proved difficult, as it remained hidden deep in the ocean for over 300 years. However, the Colombian Navy was able to find the ship's remains on the seafloor near the Baru Peninsula by utilizing remote-operated underwater vehicles. The San Jose was estimated to be carrying around $17 billion worth of silver and gold jewels before it was sunk by a fleet of British warships. So naturally, a lot of people wanted to get their hands on it. According to a spokesperson for the Colombian Navy, their ROV have revealed hundreds of valuable artifacts littering the sand around the wreckage. They found coins, gold bars, cannons, and a set of delicate porcelain tableware in almost perfect condition. The ship is incredibly preserved, which is due to the considerable depth it rests at, roughly 2,000 feet below the surface. The San Jose is far out of reach of sunlight, which means many maritime organisms can't thrive in the environment where the boat lies. Because of this, the wreck has been left almost entirely unbothered by underwater creatures. While the exact amount of treasure that's been discovered is not known, the ownership of the San Jose's valuable contents has been fought over incessantly since it was first discovered. The government of Spain believes that since the ship belonged to the Spanish Navy, the treasure belongs to them based on international law. However, the Colombian government seems to claim the ship and all its precious cargo for themselves. At the moment, it appears that most of the San Jose's treasure still remains at the bottom of the sea. The considerable depth at which it rests makes recovering the valuables extremely difficult. Apparently, the salvage mission alone will cost Colombia upwards of $70 million, but they do plan on bringing the artifacts to the surface at some point in the near future. The country's president, Iván Duque, plans to display the treasure from the wreck in museums for the world to see. Number 4. Queen Nefertiti's treasure. In 2018, 3,000-year-old ancient Egyptian jewelry was discovered inside a couple of Bronze Age tombs in Cyprus. When archaeologists with the University of Gothenburg stumbled upon it, they were absolutely awestruck by the treasure they found inside the tombs. They uncovered the remains of 155 individuals, as well as 500 valuable objects, including priceless jewelry that was created under the rule of Queen Nefertiti. The tombs were in use for hundreds of years, from around 1500 to 1350 BC. One of the skeletons belonged to a young boy, who couldn't have been older than 5 years old. The boy likely belonged to an elite family, and he was found buried with a plethora of priceless jewelry. Among the grave goods, they recovered a beaded necklace with a solid gold crown. One of the more important finds they discovered at the site was a cylinder-shaped seal made of something called hematite, which is a commonly found iron oxide compound. The seal had a cuneiform inscription from ancient Mesopotamia. The text consisted of 3 lines, and it mentioned 3 names, one of which was Amuru, a god that was once worshipped in early Iraq. However, the full translation was not given in the article. The group continued to uncover hidden treasure as they carried on with their excavation. Perhaps the most incredible piece of jewelry they found in the tombs was a gold pendant in the shape of a lotus flower, inlaid with precious gemstones. It's believed that the Egyptian queen Nefertiti wore similar jewelry to this during her time on the throne around 1350 BC. Number 3. Tilia Tepe. A group of archaeologists made a fascinating discovery in northern Afghanistan in 1978. They were digging in a place known as Tilia Tepe, which translates to the Hill of Gold. It's located in the province of Jowzjan, near the city of Sheberghan, and what they found here is now often referred to as the Bactrian Horde. Here they uncovered the graves of multiple high-status nomads who lived in the area roughly 2,000 years ago. Over 20,000 precious objects were discovered buried with the dead, most of which are crafted from semi-precious stones or solid gold. These amazing finds from this site are now often compared to the incredible treasures that were recovered from King Tutankhamun's tomb in Egypt. The archaeologists uncovered weapons, jewelry, and ornaments that revealed the influence of the cultures that passed through the Silk Road. 5 of the 6 graves they excavated belonged to women, and the other was that of a male warrior or leader. While everything they uncovered at Tilia Tepe was likely very valuable, the jewelry stood out among the rest of the artifacts. They found a collapsible gold crown made for easy transport, dated to be from the 2nd quarter of the 1st century AD, the time in which Jesus Christ himself is thought to have been born. They also recovered an amazing pendant that depicts a dragon master, with 2 of the mythical creatures on either side of him. It's made of gold and fitted with garnet, turquoise, pearl, and carnelian gems dating back to the 1st century AD. While many other priceless treasures were found at this ancient site, it would be impossible to list them all. But if you ever find yourself in Kabul, Afghanistan, many of the artifacts are now displayed at the country's National Museum. Number 2. Black Swan Project. The Nuestra Señora de las Mercedes, originally known as the Black Swan ship, held some of the most amazing marine treasure that's ever been recovered in human history. The vessel sank in 1804 off the coast of Portugal and was known to be carrying nearly $1 million silver dollars. The ship was on its way back to Spain from South America, but it never returned from the voyage. The exact details regarding the Black Swan's demise is unknown. However, it's believed that it was hit by heavy storms and took on heavy flooding, which caused it to sink. The valuables from the wreckage were brought back to the surface in May of 2007 under the Black Swan Project, funded by the Odyssey Marine Exploration Company. For a while after the salvage operation, the group kept quiet about what exactly they'd found. However, it was later revealed that the project yielded approximately $500 million worth of treasure in silver and gold. In total, Odyssey Marine Exploration recovered about 17 tons of precious coins from the Black Swan. But just a short time afterwards, they were sued by the Spanish government. The case ended up going all the way to the Supreme Court, at which point they were ordered to return the valuable treasure to Spain. The company was also forced to pay a fine of $1 million for their abusive litigation and bad faith. In 2012, the coins were finally given back to their rightful owner, and they are now on display in Cartagena at the National Museum of Subaquatic Archaeology. Number 1. Milton Keynes Garden. In 2020, a treasure trove of solid gold coins was found in Buckinghamshire, England, at the Milton Keynes Garden. The rare stash of 50 coins was found by accident by a lucky resident who happened to notice them in the garden. They were made of 22-karat gold and were minted by the Rand Refinery in Germiston, South Africa in the 1970s. But it's a complete mystery how they ended up in Milton Keynes. Each coin was estimated to be worth between $1,556 to $2,075. Inscribed on one side of the coins is a picture of former president of the South African Republic, Paul Kruger. The other side shows South Africa's national animal, a springbok, which is a type of antelope. The coins were determined to be modern Krugerrand, a type of coin that was minted in the country starting in 1967. They were once the preferred choice for investors looking to buy gold in South Africa, but they've since fallen out of favor due to their association with the apartheid government. When the stash was discovered, the Milton Keynes coroner was given the task of determining whether the coins belonged to the British Museum or if the person who found them would be able to keep them. It was ultimately decided that the coins were too precious not to be displayed in the museum, and that's where they currently reside. However, the original finder of the coins was compensated fairly for the discovery. Would you rather find hundreds of gold coins buried deep in the desert or discover a tomb filled with ancient jewelry? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!